Welcome back, everybody, to some more Grand Tactician, the Civil War. We're in the home stretch, I hope, to actually winning this war, but we know we've got a lot of ground to cover yet. I'm trying to move the Second Corps and the First Corps over here to further consolidate the Army of the Potomac. Second Corps is just kind of sitting still at the moment. We want to get everybody engaged over here in Richmond. We can retake Richmond with the entire force, except for the Third Corps under Heintzelman, which continues to hold the area near Winchester. We're also in the process of continuing to secure West Virginia. We got a few forces that are moving around there up near Grafton. We're trying to deal with them right now. And then let's take a look at what's happening over in the west. In the west, we have Knoxville. We're in the process of... Oh, why did the Fourth Corps flee from Richmond? Yeah, I don't think that's the number of casualties we actually suffered there. But it looks like the Fourth Corps is fleeing from Richmond. We need to get more forces. We need to get the First Corps, the Second Corps all engaged there. Get the entire Army of the Potomac minus that one corps dealing with that. So in the process of building up our supply base in Chattanooga, I have a supply... that always pops up for some reason. I have a supply depot here right now, but what I want to do is I actually want to upgrade that a few more times. Currently, it's not showing any actual supplies there, but we're going to keep upgrading that building as often as possible. It gets more expensive each time you upgrade it. The Army of the Ohio is there right now in full supply, and we're going to prepare for a march on Atlanta. You can see he's got his reserve corps there, estimated to have about 6,000 men. He's also moving the First Corps over here, which has another 6,000 men. The Army of the Ohio ought to be able to handle them just fine. Then we have the Army of Mississippi, the main part of the Army of Mississippi. We don't know how many men he has total moving that way. And we'll probably shift Grant's army south. I want to try and clear out Alabama as much as possible and make Grant's way toward Mobile. And we'll eventually build up Benjamin Butler's Army of the Gulf, see if we can take New Orleans with him. In fact, let's go ahead and start making that move. Fort Massachusetts garrison has 10,000. Oh, it's a capacity of 10,000. So let's go ahead and move Butler over toward New Orleans. See if we can take that. We need to get our Navy going there. The West Gulf Blockading Squadron has 22 ships with 279 guns under Admiral Farragut. Let's go ahead and see if we can upgrade them. I haven't decided what I want to use them for yet. How about Battery Runner? Okay, let's do that. So let's move them up. We're going to make a move on New Orleans. Up here, we have our Mississippi River Squadron, which I actually want to move underfoot down here to deal with his Mississippi River Squadron. Meanwhile, we've got Pope's Army of the Mississippi, 23,000 strong, sitting in Grenada right now, building up their supply base. And we're going to make a move on Jackson as soon as we deal with the Mississippi River Squadron, and then we'll be in a position to go after Vicksburg. Now remember, this is all stuff that didn't happen historically with the Union because the Union never really coordinated their forces like this. So I have the benefit of doing something that the historic Union didn't really figure out to do until 1864 under Grant. We're going to move the Army of the Southwest fairly soon. We've got 5,500 men right now, so I think we can probably start thinking about an engagement with them as well. All right, we do have another Patron unit to go ahead and add. We're going to add them to the Army of the Tennessee. I don't have enough Tennessee volunteers to be able to add them there. In fact, I don't really have anywhere but Massachusetts at the moment that we can add additional brigades. So, well, we've got New Jersey. Let's do that. But he wants us to be the first East Tennessee volunteers. This is for Polar, who's one of our new patrons. And if you are a patron and you haven't given me your request for a unit yet, please shoot me a message through Patreon or reply to the post that I made about that, and we'll make sure we get that happen. Blue shirt, blue pants. Let's go ahead and get the first East Tennessee volunteers going. Historically, Eastern Tennessee was very pro-Union. And so it makes sense that we would have such a unit. It's going to take them about a month to get into the fight, but they will be there. So Sumner's 2nd Corps has a 3rd perk available to it now. We're going to give it Field Telegraph so we can get those orders a little faster. They're currently engaged. So let's talk about Edwin Sumner for a second. One of the oldest generals in the Union Army. He was born in like 1797. So he's 65 years old at this point. He ended up dying actually in March of 1863 after he had been removed from the command of the 2nd Corps by his own request. Once the Battle of Fredericksburg was over. And he was actually awaiting reassignment west to the Department of Ohio. And he passed away in New York. He had 2 sons who were also in the Union Army. They were lower-ranking officers at the time, but both men ended up generals later in life around the time of the Spanish-American War. In fact, I believe one of his sons commanded the 6th Cavalry and the other one commanded the 7th Cavalry in the 1890s. And then later became generals. Excuse me. So they've taken Fort Darling back. He also had a son-in-law who was on Robert E. Lee's staff in the Confederate Army. So quite a bit of connection there for his family. All right, so the Army of the Gulf has apparently failed trying to take Fort Macomb. We do have, I think this is probably Fort Jackson and St. Philip. I believe that's what this other one was called at the time. So we've got to try and shell those things, and we're going to have to get a bigger army for Benjamin Butler and the Army of the Gulf to be able to get up there and take New Orleans. I don't even know where my Navy is at the moment. That's the mortar flotilla. Okay, interesting. Let's get them up there shelling these forts then, shall we? The Navy must be transporting the Army of the Gulf at the moment. Fleet orders, neither one really. All right, Army of Mississippi is in contact with our Army of the Ohio. Pretty one-sided affair here, so I feel like this is an opportunity to go ahead and auto-resolve this one. We've got them outnumbered 3-1. Probably don't need to fight that one. Glorious victory at Chattanooga. Enemy took 1,400 casualties. We lost 1,900. But we are well in position now, I think, to go ahead and make our march toward Atlanta. It's going to be Don Carlos Buell that gets to march into Atlanta. He is going to be facing more forces as the rebels consolidate their troops there. Maybe we'll send Grant that direction. I don't know. I'm going to send Grant first to Tuscaloosa. And then we'll kind of go from there. Eventually make our way down to Montgomery. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a look at our policies here because we haven't ever passed legal blockade. I also want to look at possibilities for additional troops. We've got bounties. We've got the Enrollment Act, which would basically institute a draft. I think we'll do that because if we do the bounties, it hurts morale among the veteran troops who didn't get bounties when they signed up. So I think we're better off to go with the draft. I got to give orders to the Army of the Gulf to stop. Hopefully I can get them to stop moving north. Glorious victory at Baldwin Ferry, the Mississippi River Squadron. Excellent news. So we're going to continue to drive him south. We're very close to being able to hit Vicksburg. U.S. warns Europe to remain neutral. Where are we at on that? British intervention's at 70%. Somebody asked me if I could actually see what would happen if I pushed for that. Not really sure what I'd be able to do that. I'm not passing emancipation because I figure emancipation would push them away from intervention. So I'm not doing anything to stop intervention. I'm just not sure what I could do short of retreating that would get British intervention to happen faster. Okay, the mortar flotilla is in the process of bombarding Forts St. Philip and Jackson. Oh, it says now we have 0 guns. So I don't know what happened with David Dixon Porter there, but it looks like he's pulling back. Whatever happened, it didn't go the way we wanted it to. Fort Jackson Department Number 1. I guess that would be where Fort St. Philip is. Okay. Let's go ahead and try to make another move on... Actually, I'm going to hold off on the Army of the Gulf until we can get some reinforcements for them. And where is my other flotilla that was down here? They're right here. They're just not... For some reason, I can't see them, but they're there. That's the West Gulf Blockading Squadron. Let's go ahead and give them mortar boats. We're going to actually get them right up the Mississippi River here. Let's see what happens if we do that. They're actually bombarding the fort already. Oh boy. Didn't think about this. Vote, vote, vote. 38th U.S. Congress to be chosen. Democratic support rising. Lincoln needs a victory. Oregon votes Republicans. So mortar flotilla is going away. A West Gulf Blockading Squadron. They're actually losing guns. Also, they're down to 90. So this might not be a winning scenario for me. The fort condition's down to 90. He's got 3,000 troops there. Okay, they're down to 52 guns. They've lost a couple of ships. We got to pull them out of there. Here comes the New Orleans squadron for the Confederates. He's got 26 ships with 81 guns. My goodness. Where did he get that navy? And we're going to have to do this by land. So let's go ahead and take a look where we're at on our movement toward Atlanta. We're getting pretty close. Is he fleeing with the First Corps? I'm not sure that he is. So the Army of the Ohio making their way. We should be engaging before long. Let's switch them to offensive. You can see the Army of the Tennessee is actually within range to where they might actually come to the sound of the guns. We lost Fort Darling again. That keeps going back and forth. So there's Hill's Corps. Okay. Second Corps again. Boy, most of our battles have been with the Second Corps so far. Let's make sure the First Corps is actually set to an offensive stance. They're not. Why did everybody get switched to defensive? Because without an offensive stance, they're not going to march to the sound of the guns and help me. So we might be doing this without them. Well, this is going to be about the most even battle we've fought. And you can see, of course, we've got those 4,800 wounded that we've been carrying with us. I don't know why the Confederacy never has any. But we're within 80 men of identical in terms of strength. So what battlefield? Looks like we're fighting once again on the Cold Harbor, Mechanicsville, Gaines Mill area. This is the Battle of the James and Kanawha Canal. Or Kanawha. I know that's a river in West Virginia, and I live close to there, so I should know how it's pronounced, but I don't. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just get... It feels like the Second Corps has done a lot of the fighting so far. We're going to go ahead and get the Second Corps lined up here. And then we'll go. All right, we sent our cavalry out ahead of us, and I just spotted him. Looks like he's moving right down this road here. So we'll see if we catch his attention to where he turns, or if he's going to continue down that path. I'm trying to build a battle line right along this stream right here. I got to get Stone's artillery up. And we've got to get Blanker's division moved over as well. I'm going to move Blanker's division right over to this spot here. Let's see what happens. Once I get everybody in position, I'll put skirmishers out. Let's move Farnsworth up. He's moving his whole force down this way. We may have to move to intercept. Let's see if my estimate on his troop numbers has changed at all. No, it has not. So I anticipated that since it seemed like he was moving for all the objective points from one after the other, I anticipated that maybe once he took this one, he was going to start moving toward this one, which is right near where I came in on the map. That appears to be exactly what he's doing, right near where Topotomy Creek runs and connects with Mill Run. So we're going to build a battle line right here along that spot, which appears to be exactly where he is. Now hopefully we can get into position before too long. I don't know where he's going to engage me at. So Blanker's coming in there. Richardson's going in on the left, and I guess that means I've got Sedgwick headed for the center. I think I'm actually going to have to shift Blanker over here to watch my right. And we're going to move Sedgwick. Let's see what he does. I might have to move Sedgwick in down here. And then just keep Richardson over on the left. All right, our first guns are firing. We've got these 10-pounder Parrots up here, the 2nd Division Artillery under Featherston. And we've got these guys right at the edge here. Probably should have backed them off a little bit up to higher ground. But we'll sit tight for now. Yeah, let's go ahead and back up. If we could face that way, that would be fantastic. Thank you. All right, let's see what he's doing. So he's moving into this position. I'm still waiting on Sedgwick to get in position on the right. We're moving Richardson in on the left right here. He looks like he's running some artillery up that way. I might send the cavalry to deal with them. Bring my guns over. Alright, let's back these guys off. And I may have to swing Sedgwick around. I don't know that we're going to want to sit right in this spot. Alright, we've got a good spot for the guns, it appears. These guys aren't firing, but the others are, so maybe if we move them up, they'll start firing. And what I'm going to do now is, since he seems to be sitting still facing me, I'm going to move Sedgwick up here and see if we can smash into his flank. Alright, he saw my movement with Sedgwick and he started moving his entire force back across the creek. So what we're going to do is we're going to get Farnsworth dismounted and he's going to try to hold these guys off, keep their attention while we make our move with Sedgwick. Of course, Sedgwick's had to do a lot of movement today. And we'll keep the rest of our infantry, these 2 divisions here, along with all of our artillery. Okay, here he comes. Looks like his Featherston's brigade's going to march across. We're sending Sedgwick forward with skirmishers out front. It looks like Oliver Howard's going to take the first brunt of this attack. Probably should have sent some skirmishers out of his as well. Howard's right at the apex of my line here. I don't know what Farnsworth may be facing over here. He's got Frank Wesson carbines. Come on, Sedgwick, get him moving. We're waiting for the orders to get over to Sedgwick, so he'll start his movement. They're coming straight at Howard. All right, Howard's boys, you can do this. Cohesion is failing. All right, looks like Sedgwick's moving. And we got the VMI cadets right here. That's Barnes's detachment. And then over here on the right we have, I believe this is 9th Indiana. It is. Alright, let's bring this brigade around. This is some really interesting topography here. You can see he's got a guy coming in to give orders to Featherston's brigade. I'll be curious to see what they're going to do. He's got 2 brigades, Garnet and Rhodes, going at Farnsworth. Let's give him a skirmish formation. Feeling pretty good about our lines at the moment. Let's see how it's going. Oh man, look at how much he's sending over toward my cavalry. Alright, so far so good. Pretty low numbers on both sides. Oh, Farnsworth. Hang on for dear life, my friend. We gotta drive these guys off as quick as we can so we can get up there and help him. And we need Sedgwick's division with orders for long-range fire. Von Steinwehr's not firing, probably because he's overlapping a little bit. Look at Howard, man. Do your thing, Howard. Hang on, boys. Let's bring the Irish Brigade over to help out. Nice job, Howard. Drive him back. So he's arrayed for battle against Featherston, but he's not really engaging Featherston as strongly as he could. Not Farnsworth, Featherston, Farnsworth. I have a Featherston as well, but it's a battery commander. Alright, let's push up. Von Steinwehr's still not fighting. Alright, let's speed this along a little bit. Alright, now I want to slow it down because I want to see what's happening with the cavalry. Because it looks like Terry's brigade's coming straight at him. Oh, my poor cavalry. Only thing they got in their favor is the ability to fire much more rapidly. Alright, let's pause. We've got a perk available, Expert Scouts. Cold Steel, Mounted Rifles. No, I want the Stormers 1. Yes. Let's do that. Come on, boys. Early's got twice as many men. Oh, look at how many men we're having to send up. Alright, now he's sending a second one to get on my flank. Well, he's sending some skirmishers up. That is not going to end well. So let's do this. I wonder if we can get the... We gotta push these guys. I thought I told the Irish Brigade to move up already. Farnsworth never going to be able to hold. Alright, how are our numbers looking now? Good, real good. 3-1 on killed. And we've actually got the advantage in numbers for the first time today. Slightly. Okay, so Farnsworth has fallen back. Meanwhile, we've just driven off O'Neill, so that's some good news. We're going to pull Farnsworth all the way back to our main line now, if we can. But since we've driven off O'Neill from the Confederate side, now you can see here, as I'm building my battle line and I'm trying to move Blanker up, he's sending everybody forward. Come on, Farnsworth, get out of there. Trying to get Sedgwick moved up. Why won't Farnsworth move? He's going to get surrounded and destroyed because he won't get out of there. And he's into a melee combat situation now. Alright, we've got to push forward as much as possible. Let's push Blanker forward. Push Richardson across. Richardson down to... No, it's just one, that's why. Let's try this again. Farnsworth, get out of there. Oliver Howard charged right into Featherston's brigade, and it looks like he's driving him off. Nicely done, sir. They've taken 25%, well, actually about 30% casualties. Their cohesion's not good at the moment. But there, he drove Featherston off. Who we got here? We've still got a cavalry unit down here. Now look at that, 3-1 casualties. Excellent. We'll go ahead and speed things along a little bit. There, we drove off that unit. Alright. Looks like a victory. We really didn't have 6,000 casualties. We brought 4,700 in with us. We actually had about 1,300, so it was a really good day for the Union Army. Alright, we've got another 110,000 men available through the draft now. We're going to go ahead and start sending some of these draftees to some of the garrisons that I need to hold in various places, like Fort Pillow, Fort Thompson. I don't even know where that one is. Fort Island number 10. We definitely need something there. We'll send some Michigan draftees for that one. So we'll start dealing with that. We should be getting close to an engagement in Atlanta. That's what I'm hoping will be next. 4th Corps Army of the Potomac engaged the 3rd Corps of the Army of Mississippi, and they won a glorious victory at Winchester. While the 3rd Corps is still sitting here, and I'm not sure why they weren't engaged. Got to check there. They weren't set to offensive. Okay. We're retaking Fort Darling once again. I think as soon as we get the 4th Corps moved down to Richmond, we'll make a move on Petersburg. All right. Army of the Ohio is currently sitting right on Atlanta. We haven't taken it yet, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why we haven't engaged the enemy. This might be one of those glitches where the enemies won't fight each other for some reason. Hopefully that'll be corrected by the patch that's coming out in the next couple of days. But we're going to sit here right on Atlanta and take it. In the meantime, Grant's forces are moving toward Montgomery, Alabama. He's at 98% supply, so we're going to need to build another supply depot. The Confederates have a squadron moving up the river, so I want to be a little careful of that. In fact, I may halt Grant at Tuscaloosa. Or nearby. Meanwhile, Pope has just about arrived in Jackson, and he's going to make his move on Vicksburg here very soon. In fact, he's taken Jackson. Let's see his supply situation, 98%. Let's go ahead and build a supply depot here. Get the supplies to flow right down our line that we've been building. So here's the front line situation. We've taken a good bit of Alabama, most of Mississippi. We've taken Atlanta, and yet the Confederate morale is still higher than the national morale of the U.S. The national support is higher. Now, granted, that may be because I raised his that number up all the way to 50 when we started with, which was going to increase the morale of his armies and his support in the nation. But we've still got a better than 2-to-1 advantage in men fielded. Look at this Navy tonnage, though. He's got me 2-to-1 in Navy tonnage, and I'm really not sure why that is. Seems like he's poured a lot more energy and finances into building his Navy than he has his Army. All right, our Mississippi River Squadron has driven off the Confederates at Baldwin Ferry, repeatedly, apparently. So we're going to go ahead and make our move with the Army of the Mississippi. Let's go ahead and get an upgrade to that supply depot. We're in the process of sending 9,000 draftees, 3 new brigades, to the Army of the Mississippi. I don't know how many times that's going to happen. All right, 2nd Corps Army of Mississippi fighting against the Union 3rd Corps up here near Winchester, Battle of Railroad Bridge, Virginia. So we'll wrap up this episode with this battle. Hopefully we'll start to get to see some of the units we haven't seen in combat so far. Let's take a look and see who all's in this one. All right, so in the 2nd Division we have the 24th Michigan and the Roaring Beaver Tails. 1st Division, that's just standard units. Let's see if we've got anybody in the 3rd. Nobody in the 3rd, so those are the 2. The 24th Michigan and the Roaring Beaver Tails are in this one. Okay, we've spotted them down here near the middle bridge. We're fighting on the Antietam battlefield. We're going to need to get morale shifted over here, and let's get some... We're almost at nightfall, so we're not going to be doing a whole lot of fighting here. Let's get some long-range orders in there and break off some skirmishers. But we're definitely not going to be doing too much engaging here. Let's get Hamilton moved up to right here. Joe Hooker's going to move in on the left side over here. We've got Hiram Berdan's sharpshooters right here. Let me get them moved up right on the river. Griffin's artillery right here. That's a lot of guns we've got. Alright, we'll see how far we get. I don't expect too much combat to happen before we advance to the next day. He's pulling back. Okay, day 2. Battle of Railroad Bridge. Let's see what he does. He may be forcing me to attack. And that's fine if that's the case. We'll send Hooker forward. I'm actually going to send him right up into this spot right there. We'll shift Hamilton just to his right. And we'll hold Fitzjohn Porter's division back at the bridge for now. Okay, well, I had completely lost track of him. It looked like he was retreating back to this position, so I started sending Hooker around this way, Hamilton up the middle, and I was starting to bring Porter across when all of a sudden he turned around with his full corps. So we're going to get into position now and fight these guys. I may need to bring Porter across. There's Hiram Berdan there. There's Morrell. Dan Butterfield. Let's see who we're fighting with right here. Sykes has the regulars. There's David Birney. There's Sickles' brigade coming in. I think that's the first part of Hooker's division. Here's the 24th Michigan. Let's bring them up right here. And then the Roaring Beaver Tails. Let's get a look at these guys. They're bright red uniforms. I wonder if we can get them up here in the woods and on the Confederate flank. Got artillery right here. Where's my batteries? We need to counterfire that battery. Hall's got 3-inch ordnance. I think that's probably perfect for that counter battery fire. Alright, let's see if he makes any move toward this bridge. So historically, Berdan's sharpshooters actually did wear dark green uniforms. You can see those there. They're, you know, by the middle to late of the war, almost all the Union forces wore pretty much the same uniforms. You had your Zouaves and things like that, but Berdan's sharpshooters were one of those rare units that was actually using something akin to camouflage. Got some pretty big units over here. Bernie's about to hit his first perk. So let's bring this division over. Here's the 24th Michigan. Roaring Beaver Tails are in position. Let's bring them out of the woods. Oh, he's turning the battery. May need to charge that battery at some point. Alright, what's happening with Porter? Because they're coming at him. Skirmishers are coming back. Let's look at the numbers. Pretty good so far, 4-1. Oh, why are those skirmishers going across that bridge? Bad idea. I got a ton of artillery right here. And I think we're just shattering these guys. Now we got to charge that battery. Who's going to do it? Roaring Beaver Tails. You of the bright red uniforms. It's going to be your job to charge these guys. You got this, boys. Why are we not charging? Go. Nice job, boys. Hey, Berdan, maybe not that direction. There we go. Alright, we'll shift Hamilton. Now that we drove off that battery, let's reform Hooker and bring him up this way. No, not just the 24th Michigan, the whole division. And we'll have him trapped. Looks like he's making an attempt to charge across this bridge. Berdan's at sharpshooters too. If he gets to 3, he'll be an elite unit. Alright, let's see what we can do here. I imagine once his morale breaks to a certain point, the battle will just end. Let's go ahead and move Hamilton up. We're still waiting on Hooker over here, but we're going to bring them up as well. And we'll go ahead and speed things up and see what happens. Oh, that's a lot of artillery exploding over him right now. That is just absolutely devastating for him. This is probably the most artillery I've had engaged at one time in one spot. I can't imagine he holds up too much longer in this. Yeah, look at those numbers. There's no way. Two of his brigades are broken. Yep, there it is. Okay. So 364 men lost on my side. 4,500 for the Confederates. That's by far the best battle I think we've fought so far. I'm going to wrap it up right there. We should see the update soon. I think it's going to really make this a much more playable campaign. Once that happens, of course, this one will be pretty well over by then. But once we finish this campaign, we will be switching over to the Confederate side. And don't worry, we're going to be playing this for many months to come. So patrons, your units will get well used, if not in this campaign, certainly in the ones to come. So drop a like if you would, leave a comment, and we will see you again soon. Thanks for watching.